I was telling someone, if I go through my email, I'm sure I have over 150 rejections from Australia itself.
Wow. If you're coming to Sydney, Queensland and South Australia with 491 visa, and you're going to a government school, your child would not pay school fees.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. How are you all doing? My name is Chioma, and as you can see, there is something special going on today. Okay, we have two wonderful ladies in the house. And listen, let me just say this to you, okay? If you're not following these two people here on YouTube and you say you're serious about migrating to Australia, I would question your seriousness, to be honest. So I am going to introduce these two beautiful ladies to you, and then they will take center stage, okay? I'm not going to be talking too much today. All right, we have Dami in the building, and Dami is on YouTube, okay? Her YouTube channel is Dami T. I'm going to leave that on the screen anyway, so please make sure you're following her. And then we've got Uche in the building. She actually has her YouTube channel name on her own screen, so Niger Mom in Australia. Thanks for
That's my brand.
Yay.
Just she's the pro. That's different. You're professional and a learner.
Yes.
Nobody's a learner here. Yeah, so we have Dami in the building, we have Uche in the building, and like I said, you need to be following these two wonderful, beautiful ladies. If you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing on YouTube, to be honest, especially from the perspective of migrating to Australia. All right. So today we're just going to be talking generally about some of the things that a lot of you ask me questions about. If you're thinking about the pathways to come into Australia, the three of us actually came in on different pathways, and that is why this video is so important for you to watch. Okay, I came in through studies. Dami came in on the 482 visa, and here, that 482 visa that people like asking me questions about. You have an expert in the building. And then Uche came in on one of the regional visas. Remember, I have said in one of my previous videos, my most recent videos, like 2 videos ago, I talked to you about the benefits of regional migration. So we have an expert in the building. She's going to tell you all about that. Okay, so ladies, do you want to say hello to the viewers? From you, Dami.
Hello, everyone. What are we supposed to say?
That's okay. Anuche, do you want to say something to the viewer?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. It's good to have you, all of you here.
Yep. Okay. So let me begin, and I'm going to begin with you, Uche. All right. So first of all, I want to ask you, Uche, where in Australia are you located? Where do you live?
I'm in Toowoomba. Toowoomba is a regional area in Queensland, Australia. And I've been living here for almost going to 5 years.
5 years now.
Yes.
I hope you are taking notes. Oh, okay. And what about you, Dami?
Yeah, I'm also in Queensland, but I live in Brisbane. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, you were saying something. Let me not talk.
I've been living here for 3 years.
Okay. And Uche, just following on from that, do you want to tell us a bit about how you actually came into Australia?
Okay. Before I started the Australia journey, I wanted to go other places. So I checked my check and balances to see which one will favor me and my family. So at the end of the day, I joined a lot of groups, which I mentioned a lot, that if you're planning to come to Australia, you need to do a lot of research. It's not just we, the YouTubers, dishing it out to you. You also have to do your own research. So I did a lot of research. I did a lot of group research with people. Then I came in with 482 visa, which is regional sponsored visa, although Australian government call it 491 now. Since November 19th, they changed it. So during our time is a 4 years live and work in a regional area, and you meet the eligibilities, then you would apply for your permanent residence after that. So that's what we did. Yes, and for 482 visa, which is 491 visa right now, the processing time is easier and faster, especially for people that don't have their occupation in the other occupation lists. One thing with this visa is that it has more occupation than others, right? And the government is putting up priority for this particular visa because they want to also develop the regional area. It's not as if the regional area is not developed. We have everything here, except just few finishing touches to make it like the metropolitan. Yeah, so I would encourage anyone that want to come to Australia, if your occupation is not in the 189 or 190, it's also good to come with the 491. And right now, they are even the one enjoying, because during our own time, we don't have any extra benefits like what they have added to it. Like example, having a Medicare.
Okay.
During our time, you have to apply for your permanent residence before they would allow you to have access to that Medicare. But with this 491 right now, if you get it, you have Australian Medicare, which is, at least it's a good thing. If you don't want to have extra health insurance, you're sure that you and your family is covered. And you have to also meet some requirements, which is work in any job. It doesn't matter the kind of job you're doing, and make up to 55,000 Australian dollars, then you're good to go. And another thing I want to point out that is also good about this regional sponsored right now is you can live in any regional Australia. During our time, you have a specific, like, when Queensland nominates you, you have to be within Queensland. You can't go to any other state. And if you're going to do that, you have to get like a letter from Queensland saying, okay, I didn't get a job or anything, so I'm moving to another state to look for a job. But with 491, they allow you to go to any regional area of any state. You mustn't be in the state that sponsored you. So I think I will leave it here for now.
Okay, that's a lot of information actually. And there's a few things you've mentioned that I didn't know about, like having access to Medicare from the get-go, like as soon as you're granted that visa, you have access to Medicare. I didn't know that. I thought you had to become a permanent resident first on that visa before you can have access to Medicare.
Not that you have to be a permanent resident when you have met the 2 years, but 482 is no longer there except for people that are still waiting for their visa. But let's just touch base to it. So with 482, you stay in a regional area for 4 years, meet the requirements, meaning have any job and do 75 hours per fortnight, and show that you're living in that regional area. What would you use in showing that? Your rent, your electricity, and so on. So immediately you get those requirements and you've met the 2 years, you can apply for your permanent resident. That's what would push you to another visa called 887.
Okay.
Right? So when you apply for that 887, then the government would give you the Medicare. You will have an interim, I hope I got it right. Interim. Yeah, that's the English word. Yeah, interim Medicare card, right? But with the 491 right now, because it's the hot thing, you understand, they want people to, metropolitan is well jam-packed. They want people over to the regional area. So they want to give people something to hold on to, that, okay, you're not losing out. That is why when you apply for 491, you get that Medicare immediately. But you must also meet the 55,000 yearly thing. And it's no longer 4 years. During my time, it was 4 years to live and work in regional area. With this 491, it's 5 years. You have to even, yes, but you have to work in whatever you're doing for 3 years to meet the requirement. Yes. Okay. And another thing I want to add for anybody that want to, because they might be thinking, oh, with this visa that is a temporal visa, just live and work. Can I go back to my country or visit any other country? Yes, you can. You have access to come in and out of Australia as long as your visa is still on, you understand, you can move in and out of Australia. There is no restriction, and you can work in any kind of job except maybe government job. You know, some government job would ask you that you have to be a permanent resident or a citizen. Apart from that, you can work in a bank, you can work in an insurance company. It's not just maybe a blue collar job that you can get. And one more juicy thing to give out is depending on the studies you want to do, you might not be able to do like a bachelor's degree, but some trainings and certifications, you can get them for free with your 491 visa. Or you
Okay,
can call
we'll
it
come back to
482
that.
visa as
It's
well.
like there's lots of juiciness there to unpack. Okay, we'll come back
Yeah.
to that. I am certainly interested in that. Let's move on to Dami. So, Dami, how did you come into Australia? I know, but I want to hear it again anyway, because your story is very inspiring, to be honest. You
Yeah.
know, when people ask me all these questions about employer sponsorship, and there's lots of comments about how very difficult it is. Yes, you know, any pathway has its own challenges and difficulties. It's not a walk in the park, whichever pathway you decide to come through. Okay, but I always have you at the back of my mind when people are like, oh, I have applied for 2 or 3 or 4 and I am tired. And I'm like, you've not started. You have not started. Anyway, let's hear from you, Dami. How did you come?
Oh yeah, so we came in, I don't know, the number seems to be the same thing. We came on the 482 visa. I think the 482
Yeah,
now,
I think maybe
employer,
it's switched. Yeah.
yeah, so it's the employer sponsored visa, which is a temporary visa. And just let me start from where you started from. It was not the day or the month I started applying, I got the job. It took months. Like, it's
You
a lot
people
of
hearing it? Are you people hearing it?
took more. It took. I was telling someone, if I go through my email, I'm sure I have over 150 rejections from Australia
Wow.
itself. So it's like people would turn. I tell people that the rejection is part of the process. But I think what I did that stood out for me was at a point where I already finally made up my mind to say, oh, I want to go to Australia. I set a goal for myself to say every day I must send out at least this number of applications, and I did that consistently. And I think that was what worked out for me. I used to say, applied to the office I currently work in. I applied to the Sydney office, and the Sydney office came back and said, hey, we don't have a budget for the size of your family, but I think, do you want to go to Brisbane? I'm like, I don't even know anywhere. Just take me to Australia. Like, you know what I mean? So
What were the options apart from Brisbane?
it was just, Sydney is no longer interested. They won't be going on. But are you interested in this? As I'm like, just give it to me. It was just that those 2 options I had. So imagine out of how many, almost hundreds of applications, this was the only one that went through. And it didn't even go through from the direct application I did. It went through like it was just another referral to another office. So that's what I would say. The rejection is part of the process. Don't give up, set a goal, keep at it. Then going back to the visa itself. So I got a 482 visa with an employer who sponsored myself and my family to Australia in 2019. And that's it. Like, I don't even, but I'm just, if I want to do like a little comparison with what Uche said on our own visa. So with this one, you are not entitled to Medicare, you are not entitled to anything, but and then there is no automatic permanent residence. So it's not like when you finish. So it's up to the discretion of the employer to say if they want to sponsor your permanent resident, or if you're able to now like do 190 or 189 when you get here, because you stand a better chance. You have Australian experience, all of those things. So yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, that's interesting, Dami, and thank you for sharing that, because I think it's also really important what you highlighted there, that people know that it's a temporary visa and that they would still need to do some work in terms of getting permanent residency. And people need to know this from the very beginning, because there's nothing as frustrating as thinking that your path is just going to go from A to B to C, only for you to arrive and see that, okay, you move from A to B, but moving from B to C will take you through Z, and then you have to come right around before you find it. It takes time, it takes money, and it also impacts you in many ways. So it's good for people to know from the very beginning what they are getting into. Now, Dami, what is your occupation? Like, what's the occupation that brought you?
I am an accountant, but I'm an auditor. So I work with one of the big four audit firms. So I'm an auditor, and that's what I've been doing at least for the last 10 years. I'll be 10 years with my firm in March. So that's what I do.
That's great. That's great. And again, this makes me remember another comment that I get, a fair few times, and it is about how some people have heard that in Australia it is very hard for Black people to get into corporate jobs and blah. And I'm like, where did you hear that? Where did you hear that?
Yeah,
My
I think
experience is, yeah,
totally
yes,
different.
I know where they are coming from and I understand the perspective, but as well, I always say to people, let that not be the mindset that you even entertain.
Yeah.
Don't even entertain that mindset, because somehow the things you believe and the things that you put in front of you affect your journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
It's, yeah,
that's the truth. And another thing is, for me, it's not because you are Black. I think if you don't have permanent residency, getting certain jobs can be hard. It's
Yes.
not
mm-hmm,
about color. Like, just I used to tell people, I know someone who we came in together in particular that thinking mindset affected the person's career journey
yeah,
seriously. Because like
yeah,
if anybody does anything, it's like, oh, this person, they don't like
It's
me because
because
I'm Black.
yeah.
So it can turn like your whole story around. So just
yeah,
leave that. For me, not getting a Black people or whatever, not getting a corporate job is not because of color. It is just because most times employers want people who have permanent residence just
Yes.
for
yeah,
continuity and like any uncertainty as well.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very true. Um, and another thing I'm going to ask you, Dami, before we move on, and please get your own questions ready for me as well. I want to answer some questions. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you, Dami, was about, you said your background is in accounting. Did you have to do any registrations with any regulatory body here in Australia before you got your job? Was it a requirement for you to get your visa?
No, it's not a requirement. So with accountants, you're meant to be like a chartered accountant. That's what most people think. I have people who we joined together on the same day who are my friends who are not chartered accountants and they still got the job. So
Mm,
you don't and your skills. I know people also ask you need to do skills assessments. You don't need it for a 482 visa, but at the back of your mind, bear in mind you need it for 186, which is the
yeah.
transition, not automatic transition, but the next visa you get from after 482 186. You need the skills assessment done, but at the 482 level, you don't need it. But the only thing I advise people these days is, as much as you don't need the one skills assessment, just do it, because
Yeah.
sometimes all these things can just open up a slot and say, oh, they
Yeah.
are doing 190, they are doing 189, like depending on your occupation. Just always have this skills assessment in place. You can need it at any
Mm,
point in time, and it lasts for 3 years, so why not? It's like,
yeah. And do you
Yeah.
think it might be an advantage for someone, just in terms of even getting an employer to sponsor them, that they do a skills assessment, or maybe even what's the other one? Something to
English
recognize
test.
the prior learning, and then
definitely,
have a document that shows
definitely,
that it is on the same standard as the Australian standard. Like, I feel like that
definitely.
might be some of the things
Yeah.
that people overseas need to be thinking about to stand themselves ahead of the crowd. Because you're coming
Yeah.
from overseas, an employer would always prefer to recruit locally. Okay,
Yeah.
so if they are going to be employing you from overseas, there has to be something special about you. So maybe, I don't know if this is what you would also recommend, like for people
Oh
to think
yeah,
about
definitely.
language
What I would say
proficiency and
is,
all of that.
yeah, I work with, like, sometimes I'm involved in recruitment. A
Mm,
recruiter has like 100 CVs. Like, I'm looking for the person that I know that you've put in the work yourself. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
like, you are really keen. You know what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the part of you're in the right direction already. So I'm just like, okay, this person knows what you like. You know the journey already. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So of course, definitely, it puts you at an advantage amongst
Mm-hmm.
the other thousands of CV they'll be like sweeping through. So
That's
definitely,
good.
yeah.
So even if the job advert does not ask for those things specifically, like take the initiative to get those things,
Yeah.
like put those things in place, because it will demonstrate how, it will just demonstrate something about you that speaks to the employer, that you're a serious person. You're a serious
Yeah.
person. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Let me come back to you, Uche. So I know that you migrated with your family. Both of you
Yeah.
actually migrated with your families, and you touched a little bit on the differences on your visa and also on your visa, Dami. Um, Now you're saying that on the 491 visa, people already have access to Medicare. So how
Yeah.
does that play out in terms of school fees for school-age children? Do you pay
Okay.
for your kids, or is that also something that the government waives for you if your kids attend public school in
Okay.
a region?
I think I've done a lot of 482 that I started calling my visa 482. It's actually 489.
Well, 489.
It's actually 489. So
Okay.
for children education here, when we got here, I think my last boy was 3. So
Hmm.
so he wasn't in school. But if, especially in Queensland, if you come in with 491 or 489 visa and you're putting your children in public school, which is government school, it is free of charge
Mhm.
in Queensland. I know that I did a video and someone mentioned, because I asked other people, that if you're in a temporal visa in Australia, do you pay school fees, in case if anyone in Australia? And someone in Sydney also told me that if you're in temporal visa, that they don't pay school fees. And I think South Australia too mentioned the same thing, someone in my comment section. So I wanted you to add it to this question, since it's a temporal visa thing. So if you're coming to Sydney, Queensland and South Australia with 491 visa, and you're going to a government school, your child would not pay school fees. I've
Oh.
also seen someone, I can't remember the state, mentioned that there are some levies in some states that they will tell the temporal visa holders to also pay. And I
Hmm.
know, though it's not my visa, but it's 482 visa this time, there's someone that I know that migrated and is in Melbourne, and kids are in school recently and they are not paying school fees as well
Oh, on
in
the 48.
government school on the 482, yeah, in
Okay.
Victoria. So I want to, yeah. So if you want your child to go for any private school or faith school, then you're going to pay school fees. And of course, there is school
Hmm.
fees for childcare, and you don't get any subsidy as well for childcare with temporal visa. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. There was a question I was going to ask you, Dami, but now it's just that
Oh,
question has flown out the
because
window.
I'm talking too much.
No, 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 no. But that was really relevant information, because I thought as long as you're on a temporary visa, you're going to have to pay school fees for your kids. It's
No, Queensland
good to know
don't.
that.
Queensland don't. Yeah,
Hmm.
no,
I
Queensland
know
don't
of
at
someone
all.
who has said they had to pay, but I don't know if it's Western Australia or like
Yeah,
Pet
I
is
know there are some states that would ask you
yeah,
to
some
pay.
states pay.
Yeah,
On the
yeah, some
Pet
states
491.
pay, but yes,
for 482
but
that I know, they said they pay.
and 491 as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
491 as well. But
Hmm.
Queensland doesn't. You just need to show your visa and it's a government school you're going to, as in your kids are going to, you're good to go. You only pay for the books and the uniform and they start school.
Yeah.
Okay. And, for any of you watching right now, I think what we've just kind of demonstrated here is the importance of you doing your own research. Like,
Mm.
you cannot rely entirely on what you see on my channel, on Dami's channel, on Niger Mom's channel. Okay. You can't
Yes,
rely on it, because we all have different experiences coming into Australia. And
yes,
I am just hearing there are some things that they
I'll
are
be late a
mentioning.
lot.
I'm just hearing
Yeah.
for the very first time. I didn't know this myself. I live in
Yeah.
Sydney, and there's not enough motivation for me to want to know what is happening in Queensland. Apart from just researching to make a video, it's not like
yeah,
I am going through that process myself. So there's not enough incentive for me to want to dig really deep and find out all these little things. But for you who is wanting to come into Australia, it is highly important. I don't know what else to say to get you to understand that you cannot
research.
avoid the research. If you're serious,
Yes.
you can't. Okay.
And there are
Whenever
a
I
lot
start
of
talking about it,
places you can research from, really.
yeah.
Yeah, there
What
are a
were you
lot of
saying? Sorry, I
places.
didn't know what you said.
No, I said, and there are a lot of places you can find your research, Google and some other places you can research from. And even right now, there's a lot of people having some groups for, like in Australia here. When I was doing my own research, there's one guy, he's been living in Australia for a very long time, that started a forum in Ireland called Migrate General Immigration to Australia. Everything you need to know about coming to Australia is there, like how we speak and encourage people as well.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did
And
that too,
we
Dami.
are,
Yeah, I
yes,
was on
and we
that
are,
trip. That was even
yes,
I
and
learned
we
how
are
to
one of
expect.
the, it started since 2013 or so, and we've been there. Like my Australian journey started since 2013. Yeah, that's when I started all the process and all the reading and all that. And there are expert forum too that you can join and meet other people from different countries that have the same mindset and pursuing the same thing you're pursuing. Nobody knows you, nobody cares where you're coming from. You ask your questions, you will see people willing to answer your questions. And if you have an idea too, you share with other people. There are some Telegram groups too now that people are, starting up for the same thing. So there's a lot of places you can get information from that would
Okay.
help your immigration journey easy.
Before I forget this, I am already anticipating the questions that will come out of this. Please tell us about these forums. Where are they? Where are links? We want links to this forum. I can already see the questions coming. So,
Okay, I
are
would,
you
I would, I would send you the link to the Nairaland
please
forum.
do,
It's
because
on.
I
Although
don't have
right
it.
now with the Nairaland, people they don't come back to give back to the community that helped them, so it's not moving like other country own. Yes, we are the
Yeah.
pioneer of part one, but part two is lacking, and I will also share the expat forum. You just put expat forum for Australia online. You just use the Google and do expat forum
You people
on
hearing now.
Australia.
Don't come and start
You
asking
understand?
me.
You would see it. You will see different futures, whether you want a 189, you want a 491, you want everything, even for your occupations and your visa subclass. And you would meet people going to nominate the same occupation you're nominating, that both of you will be sharing ideas of, okay, this is what I want to submit. Is that okay? You can see someone that would help to check out your documents. Like in
That's
Expert Forum, I met 3 people from India that was coming with the same occupation I was coming with. And we came in, we kept in touch, came in, and we all came and met ourselves in Toowoomba.
oh wow.
Unfortunately, yes, we
That's
became best buds
interesting.
because we
Yeah.
had to even meet the family and all that. We never knew each other. It was just that place that connected us. So yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
expert forum, Nairaland. All they need to do is use their Google and search it out. Yeah.
You have a smartphone, okay? If you have a smartphone, if you can head into Instagram DM and ask me questions, then you can do this simple thing,
Yes.
okay? You heard it now. It's just a simple Google search. Simple Google
Yes.
search.
Yes.
Anyway, I've remembered the question I wanted to ask you, Dami. It's about the relocation package for employer sponsorship. A lot of people have the impression that it applies to everyone. Like if an employer is sponsoring you, then automatically they will sponsor your family as well. And I just wanted to know if that is actually true, because I have also read somewhere that it's not every employer that offers a relocation package, something to cover your expenses. But I just want to hear from you. And I know that you may not, you can only speak from your own experience, but I don't know if you have any insight into this.
So yeah, there's something called relocation package, but it differs from company to company. So different employer has what they're offering. And another thing, it depends on your negotiation power as well. So these
Okay.
things are things you can negotiate outside of your pay. And with the people you are like the Australians, I feel like they like conversations. So you can always like set up a call with them and have these conversations to say, hey, thank you, you've offered to pay 10,000, but this is my current flight cost for a family of this. Would appreciate if I can so it depends on your negotiation skills as well, like in all of these things. But yeah, there's something called relocation package. I think for myself, when we came, this was in 2019, maybe our relocation package was maybe 8,000 or 9,000. And that was enough for us to like buy a ticket. They told us to do cargo. Like it was just enough to cover everything that brought us here. So that's
Yeah.
basically, I know other people who came after me, not my firm, another firm, and then they got like temporary accommodation for 1 month as well. We did not get that. So it just depends on how you can negotiate after you get, but please
Yeah.
get your offer and then don't be too stubborn. I think that's one thing to mention as well. So yeah, just to share a story, maybe to wrap it up.
Yep.
Someone is currently they're recruiting in my office for someone. Interestingly, I know this person, and then they came to meet me like, oh my gosh, this person is behaving like hard to get. And I'm like, what's happening? And they were like, I think maybe because, you're always saying, oh, negotiation power, negotiate. And this person was being so difficult. You know what I mean? By saying, oh,
Yeah.
my flight's cost this. I'm like, geez, why is this person doing
Unreasonable
this?
demand.
Because some
Yeah.
people, some people are dying to have this, and
Of
then like you
course.
are not in the office already, and like your story is going around,
Doing
it's
like
making
this.
around.
Oh,
So also like be sensible, be
Yeah.
reasonable in your request, negotiate, but be reasonable. That's just it.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't shut the door in front of your face. The door that
Yes.
has already
Before
opened.
getting
Now use
there.
your hand to close
Yeah.
it. So be careful. Yeah, I mean, you have shared very great insights. Do you have any questions for me? Well, I feel like because it is my channel, I have spoken so much about my experience. It's like I don't want to keep repeating myself,
I
Yeah.
know,
repeating.
I know. Sorry.
I don't want to keep repeating myself. But people, listen, like we've been here for like 30 minutes already, so I feel like we've put in some good time.
Yeah.
You've heard from Dami, you've heard from Niger Mom. Again, I would encourage you, follow them here on YouTube. There is so much to learn from their own experiences. And it is not only about migration. I also say to people, don't be so stuck on just migration related information.
Yeah.
Dami has a lot of vlogs where she shares, what's happening in her life. Same with Uche as well. And you want to know these things. When I was researching coming to Australia, when I got saturated with all that visa information, I started looking at price of sugar in the markets, like how much is a bottle of Coke, all those kind of things. And
Yeah.
how much would I rent the house for? All those
Yeah.
things. And after I landed here, I saw that preliminary research went a long way in preparing me for what I met
This,
here. Okay.
yeah,
Because it's one thing to get a visa, it's another thing to settle successfully. And I always
Yeah.
say to people, you should put as much effort and as much attention to your settlement after the
Yeah.
visa as you're doing before the visa. It is really important. So please follow these wonderful ladies, okay? Follow them, learn as much as you can from their channel. And if you have any questions, if you ask me any question that I know that these two are the experts on, I will answer it for you, okay? Do you have any final words for the viewers? Dami, do you have any final words?
yeah. What I'll just say is don't give up. Rejection is part of the process. Set a goal for yourself and keep your head up high. Trust me, I've been on that journey, so I'm talking from experience.
Yeah.
So keep your head up high and yeah, do your personal research is very key. So wishing you guys all the best. I hope to see you in Australia very, very.
Okay, beautiful. And what about you, Dama?
Okay, I would say that they should continue with their research because I believe in research. Because I've heard a lot of people saying agents, agents, agent, and I'll ask them, why do you need agents when there are a lot of research there that you can do everything that most of the people I know, 99% of people I know in Australia did not use agents, especially the ones coming through immigration pathway, never used agents. So like I always tell people, do your research, don't give up, continue. If this one didn't go, try the other one. As long as you're trying your best, you would get there. There is
Yes.
nothing good comes that easy. You have to fight for
No,
what you want.
well,
Yeah,
that's
and
easy. we,
like I
I
said,
mean, we will not
all the
even have
best
this
to
channel.
everyone. Yes, all the best to everyone. And I hope you guys make it to Australia.
Oh, beautifully said. And that's it. There's nothing else I would add to that because I feel like everything they've said, I have also repeated the same things. Importance of research, not giving up, trying different pathways. There's lots of different pathways to come. So don't be fixated on one. Just don't say, oh, I heard about employer sponsorship, so I am going to put all my eggs in that basket. There's lots of different options. So please take your time, look at your options, know which one is most suited to you. Okay. There is no one pathway that is suited to everybody in equal measure. Okay. So take your time, Don't be impatient. So I hear that there's lots of scammers around these days. So please
There is.
be careful. Don't part with your money to anybody, because most of the things that some of the viewers would usually say that, okay, they went to fill a form and someone was asking for money. And I'm
So
like,
$7, $10 to do
$10,
point
Don't look for
calculation and all
shortcuts.
that.
People look for shortcuts. There's no
people looking
shortcut to
for
this country.
And they
shortcuts.
That
pay
That is
for
true.
it.
this country, there's
That
no
is true.
shortcut. Just
There's no shortcuts
go
here.
to IME. Go to IME website and do everything from there.
Exactly. I've had people pay for point calculator, like, but
Yeah.
you're not supposed to. When
You
you use
need
Home
pay
Affairs,
for
everything you need is there.
Yeah, just go to IME. Yeah.
So you have heard it. Okay, you have heard it. Anyways, we're going to wrap up the session here. Thank you so much, Dami. Thank you so much, Uche, for gracing
Thank
this
you
channel
for
with your
having us.
presence. Like, I feel like we should do this again. Definitely do this again. It's been such a pleasure having you. And yeah, to the rest of you, don't forget to like this video, share, okay? And if you want to subscribe, you're welcome. And the very last thing, head over to Dami's channel, head over to Uche's channel and subscribe. Okay? Okay? All right. I'll end this video here and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.